Welcome to episode 2 of Project ISEKAI, the fantasy medieval version of Kenshi. This one will cover a few changes to the character creator, but mostly all of the new menu items added to the main menu. Um, Starting off, there are several starts that are now able to be chosen. And each of them is kind of based on a different gameplay style here. So you have RPG styles, RTS styles, different difficulties as well, different number of characters that you start with. There's load games if there are any saved already. If there are any saved, there's also a continue option that will appear here. Just standard settings that save and update, so enabling the tutorials. And then it saves on change. Auto save value in minutes. Simple game options for your squad sizes of the NPC squads, not the player squad. Resolution, audio, just basic settings. So under new game, here the merchant one we'll start with having a look at changes to. So starting up, there's been some visual changes to the character selection screen, and then as well as the ability to rotate the characters. You can still change the hair color, right? The eye color, skin color as well. And currently the characters load in just a basic idle animation for now. And there is a glitch here or bug. For some reason, the female characters aren't loading in their eyebrows. Not sure why yet. And some of the hairstyles aren't loading in. So there are issues with the GTLF exporter with Blender. And the different starts also provide different choice options. So for those characters, only the gender was able to be changed. But if we choose this start here, you can change the sub race as well as the main race of your starting character. I don't think you'll be able to select monsters. This is just here for a test. But everything kind of functions as intended. And changes here will be part of another video. So the main changes are under the main menu here. Everything is split up into subcontainers. So the new container here, in the script, it actually contains the various starts, just as a massive dictionary of all the start options for now, including the start clothing that you start with, the starting health information. So all of that populates this section here, where you have your health, stealth, or whatnot based on which race you are, and the starting race blurb as well. The menu itself calls in the script within the new container here. Upon selection of your chosen start, it basically just signals up to the main menu, here, and then there's currently a global that's loaded in. It's the scene system here. This takes care of loading in, threaded loading, and then once loaded, it'll take care of removing the old scene and then switching over to the new one. In this case, it also passes along the start information. So like all of your, just a basic dictionary with all of your characters' start information and your chosen meshes and colors, and changes to the character creator. So it's been heavily simplified. Originally, all of the start information was in the character creator itself. We only have just basic information right now about the races. Other changes are all of the character mesh information has been simplified. So instead of building up a scene from scratch, the way it works is the character display will load in a skeleton scene, which is exported directly out of Blender. So each character is exported twice. So once with all of the meshes, everything is rigged to this this rig here, named rig. One thing to note when exporting, it's important to not be in rest position. Otherwise, it messes up the animations, and occasionally you'll get animations that only have one bone target on them. And then the second export is exported with all meshes hidden and is only the rig. And then that gets exported as a skeleton file. And within the skeleton, the animation is imported as well. So all the animations are built into this skeleton file, and the skeleton file itself is loaded directly in. And then within the loading of that, all of the meshes that are needed, like all of the base meshes, so like your skin, your eyebrows, etc. There's a blank mesh instance created for those, and then as you choose your different hairstyles, the mesh value of that gets changed. That way the animations are always able to easily affect them. So if we look at an example here, so if we load in this character, and then switch out to the remote view, this model is the loaded in GLB file with the rig and the skeleton built in and the animation player built in, which has all of the animations exported from Blender. Now, the key here is that all the animations have the same naming between every single rig. And then all of these mesh instances were added dynamically. And then within them, the mesh itself gets switched out with the files here, the text-based mesh exports from the actual main GLB file. So an example here on the Western Mail, what you do is you go to the actions, and then you set the mesh save path, and then you set it as a TRES file, and then you choose kind of wherever you want to set them. And then what it'll do is it'll select all of them, and then you basically export all your meshes. That way you don't have to worry about trying to delete them, because if you have them, if you open up this file and you try and load this one instead of the blank skeleton, essentially you'll have all of the overlapping meshes and you have to choose which ones to delete. So instead it's simpler to just add them. For now, I'm doing a surface override material. This is probably not the best way, because it basically it forces me to have a bit of a cartoon look, to where there's no real texture detail. It's just solid color, which isn't the worst, but I don't think that's my final design choice for the game. And then everything else is just simple functions for loading in each individual mesh and changing the colors of the model. And then this function here is for in the character creator for swapping out skeletons, because each sub-race and gender has their own base skeleton and animations. So we basically will add in the new skeleton node hierarchy here, check for the old one, rename it. So every rig is the top node is named model, just to make it easier for us to find the skeleton and rigs beneath them. And again, the rig is named rig from Blender. We load in animation. So for the character creator, we're just basically grabbing the idle animation that I've standardized to stand idle for now. In the actual game one, the intent is to create a new library from all of the animations that character or gender has. But this is still being worked on. The UI is currently also still being worked on for the game. Some of these elements do function. So you can see up here in the top right corner, there's a date time system currently in place, and it is functional. You can pause the game, and the date time does, like the system actually does pause. You can play it, you can run it in fast mode. You can set the character to run mode. Now there is currently some issues with interacting with the UI and losing your character selection, but so Brian here is currently wounded, has lost a bit of blood. He's been wounded in the head and has lost some blood as well. So the green portion is your current health. Yellow portion is the healed part of health, and the red is unhealed portion of health. It's taken directly from Kenshi, mostly. So the yellow section is easier to damage than the green section of health. and you can see that if you select a different character, they have different health values. Still working on all of the character attributes, so that's not yet implemented. You can double click on a character to have the camera follow, and then as long as you don't pan the camera, it should remain with them. Again, that's just taken directly from Kenshi.